All right, everybody, welcome to Eat Out the Danes, the YouTube channel where we are talking about how to cook Danish food. We are digging into Danish gastronomy, all the classics, and maybe also the up-to-date stuff. Well, not maybe, we're doing the up-to-date stuff. But today, we are doing like the founding pillars of what is Danish gastronomy. And as we talked about a lot, the classic Danish gastronomy is pretty bland. It's a pretty brown kitchen, if you might say so, without being racist. It's like the colors in the classic dishes aren't that frequent. The flavors they don't have any kind of like really specific notes. They're having like just a mellow Scandinavian note of tastes. And that's being said, it's the classics we're talking about. And today we're doing two absolute classics. We're doing frikadeller med brun sovs og kartofler, which is fried meatballs with boiled potatoes and a brown sauce, and surt, which means sour, but it's just another name for a kind of a pickle. And then we're gonna have boller i kaj, which is, directly if you translate that, it would be balls in curry. It's just boiled meatballs in a curry sauce with rice. And balls in curry is never not funny to say, balls in curry. The thing in common for those two dishes is that we are working with a mince stuffing made out of pork. Traditionally, you could also do it with pork and veal, but we're doing it old school, so we are doing just pork. But first, before we even get to doing our own mince, we're gonna start with the brune sauce. Brun sauce, brown sauce. Let's go. First things first, we're gonna make the stock for the brown sauce. So we got these baked off pork bones, and then we're gonna have some vegetables. I prepared them because it's just fucking boring to watch me wash vegetables and cutting them. Bay leaves, black peppercorns, fresh thyme. We got this pot of boiling water. Oh yeah. We're gonna sink in the bones here, and you can see all these bits and pieces. They're brown and almost want to eat it just like this. So we're adding this to the boiling water. All right. Then we're gonna add the vegetables. We got a leek here. We got a couple of mushrooms. You could, if you would, have taken all these vegetables and roasted them with the bones in the oven. That would add even more roasted flavor to this sauce. I got an onion here, just a totally normal white onion. I got some parsnip. I got some celeriac. Good old 24 carats gold. Yeah, and they are just crunching all of this in. For the dry ingredients, gonna add a couple of bay leaves. Yada-da-da-da. So 3 of those. We got fresh thyme, and that's about it. So if you can get a look in the good old pot, that will be it. So now we're gonna set this to boil, and eventually we're gonna do as we always do, we're gonna skim it. By roasting off these bones, the amount of impurities that you're getting out with the proteins, if you normally do a stock, they will be there, but they'll be minimized. So normally I would cook up if the bones weren't roasted. I would cook this up and then I would like skim the water before I was adding all the vegetables. But now we're doing brun sauce, and it's all about the bits and pieces actually which are left. We got the stock on, and let's move on to do our minced pork. Oh yeah. So this is what it's all about. This is actually a whole piece of pork butt. And if you don't know exactly what kind of cut that is like the top of the shoulder. So maybe I should draw it. Let's do an explaining thing. Now you're gonna experience something completely different, because I'm really not good at drawing things. I'm gonna try to draw a pig. Why do I always start with the snout? But snout is cool. Yes. Oh my god, I really suck this. So this is a pig. This is the front leg, and here down from the knee you got the shank, and then you got the middle part here, which is called the picnic, I guess, and up here, around here, the neck, that is what is called the butt. Here obviously we got the loin, the money piece, and up here is like where all the muscles from the loin connects together to become like a part where the pig is going like, and that's like a really primary muscle for the head to move up and down. So it got a lot of tastes. The more blood that's flowing through the muscles, the more the muscles are used, the more taste you'll eventually get. You also got a lot of sinew and tissue, you got intravascular fat, and it all adds to the beautiful taste of beautiful pig. If you watch here, you can actually see all the groups of muscles that we have. This is a muscle, this is a muscle, this is a muscle, this is a muscle, you know. And this is up towards the head, and this is towards the loin. This piece here is actually a part of the thinner end of the loin. This is an organic, free-range Danish pig, and I'm pretty happy about it. Be cautious about the hygiene. People who are sitting now screaming in front of the screaming in front of the screen. Why are you not wearing gloves? It's because I know how to actually fucking wash my hands. So now I'm actually just gonna cut some strings out of this piece. Oh, let's just cut it up this way so you can actually see what's inside. Yeah, this is a better view of all the muscles that you have here, and the fat, clean white fat, and the muscle, all the intravascular fat which is inside the muscle, not between the muscles where you got the sinew and tissue, but like just inside the muscles. It all adds up with flavor. So now we're going to do some strings here that fits in the machine of death. When you get a whole piece of meat like this, it's obviously a bit difficult to control the percentage of fat in, and if you buy a package of minced meat, of mince, you actually have the ability to read on the package. Is like 8 to 10% fat, 12 to 15 15 to 20% of fat. This would be like, it's not 50-50, but it would be to the fatty side. And I like that when I'm doing meatballs. So now I shall present you with the machine of death. I don't think that I can empathize enough how nice it is to mince your own meat. Actually, I'm just gonna try to start this. Let's see if this works. It pretty much looks like the things you're getting in the supermarket. So, that's about it. This is in all its glory, the simplicity of one of the Danish national dishes, frikadellen, the meatball made of pig. And in that honor, I'm just gonna leave it off. Oh, that's the training bike. So, we got the minced meat over here. It's still pretty cold. And what we need for that is like making a classic stuffing, I guess. So we got plain white flour, all purpose. Do not use, please, self-raising flour. You don't want any kind of proofing agent in your flour, just plain white, all purpose. That would do just fine. We got black pepper, we got salt, we got onions, and we got fresh laid eggs. Cream, and we're gonna add some milk. I'm not sure if anyone, all grandmothers use cream, but my grandmother, she used cream. And this is what's gonna put a price on my head, because I'm actually gonna add a small amount of garlic into our meatballs, and that was absolutely not what the older generation would have done. And the last thing we also need is nutmeg. Without further ado, whoops, there's a pointing rule. There's like a thing that says that you should need 10 grams of salt per kilo of meat. Yes, I am evil. I would not salt to the limit, but I would definitely give it a pinch of salt. I'd definitely go with the 10 grams per kilo of minced meat. So here we got a little more than a kilo. It just looked like, it don't look like a meat dough yet. It's just mince and salt. And now we're gonna run it tough here on the machine. I'm starting slow just to ensure that the salt is getting incorporated into the meat. And now I can see that actually the meat is pulling more together. It's like a polite kind of violence that I'm adding to this. So now in the bowl, the minced meat is starting to act up more like when you're kneading a dough and the dough is coming together. You got you got the watery bit, you got the dry bits, and now suddenly you hear this oof, oof, which means that the dough is setting. So it's not completely done. We're gonna let it rest a bit, and then we're gonna just do some onions. Nothing fancy here, just plain old white onions. Obviously, you can cut the onions really, really fine. And that's also a religion. Some really want to have big chunks of onions in the frikadelle or the meatballs. In a classic Danish meatball, I'm not actually a big fan of that, so I'm just gonna grate the onions. If you got one of those machines who can just put everything in and just chop, 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 That would be a good thing. Our onions. We got our garlic. Yeah, get it all out here. So let's take a look at the dough, the meat dough. Yeah, you can definitely see here now that it's becoming a bit more sticky, and it has like pulled itself together. It's more like a patty now. So, to be frankly honest, I think that this grating of the onion is good, but we want to go all in on the things being smooth. So I'm going to chop this a bit. You see, you also will find these kind of bits that ran through your fingers when you were grating. Add the onions. Is this a lot of onion? Yeah. I'll add some cream. It's a full fat cream. Full fat milk. And then we're gonna add some eggs. Fresh eggs. For this, I'm gonna use 3 eggs. And then we'll see what it ends up with. Black fresh ground pepper. And you want to hit it up with the black pepper. Well, in my frikadelle or meatballs, definitely. Yep. We got the more wet ingredients in here, and we're gonna start mixing them together before we are adding in the flour. Now you can see here that the dough is, I'm just gonna get a spoon. The dough here is not runny at all, but it's got, it's getting together here. Actually, it could take a little more milk, so I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. Like that. So we're gonna add the nutmeg. This will do it for me for now. All right. Now we're in the state where we can start to add the flour. If you're intolerant to gluten, you can use potato starch, potato flour. That's it. This is really a fairly classical Danish meatball dough, stuffing, call it what you will. I'm not sure. In Danish it's called fars. And we will put that aside in the fridge. Actually, it's all kinds of things like this. It's really, really good just to put it in the fridge to let it rest, to let it set. So let's get it in the fridge and clean up. We're gonna do a classic brine for some condiments for classical Danish foods. We're gonna do a totally classic agurkesalat, cucumber salad as it's called. But first of all, we're gonna start doing the pickle brine. And the pickle brine is pretty simple. I got totally normal white vinegar. And here I got a bottle of apple cider vinegar. We will add some dried spices. I think my grandmother was, when she was pickling, she was using yellow whole mustard seeds and a couple of black peppercorns, maybe 2 or 3 for like 10,000 gallons of pickle brine, and then maybe a bay leaf, no more than that. You'll have to need sugar and you'll have to need salt. We are gonna do 2 kinds of pickle, the traditional cucumber, and then we're gonna do the beetroot, rødbede, which also is a pretty classical thing to get for Danish food. So I'm gonna do like one-third of white vinegar, and then I'm gonna do third of apple cider vinegar, not quite a third, but we're getting there. And then we're gonna do absolutely not the scale 1-to-1 sugar and vinegar. I'm gonna do way lesser than that, and I want my pickle to be more salt than sweet. So I guess there's about a liter of maybe 800 mils of vinegar in total. Like 6 whole tablespoons of sugar. A half amount of salt, that was sugar, so I'm gonna add 1. Not quite, can always add salt. And then we're gonna add some water, just plain old water, and we're gonna double that up. So this is like a universal brine. This is like something you can use for all kinds of pickling. 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 Strange word. For my spices, I'm gonna use whole black mustard seeds. They're a bit more fragrant, they're a bit more feisty. I'm gonna add that. And then I'm gonna add bay leaves. And then I'm gonna add whole black peppercorns. And then instead of just yellow mustard seeds, I will add whole coriander seeds. That would not have happened in my grandmother's kitchen. Now we just need this to boil up. We're gonna have to taste. We have to, of course, dissolve the sugar and the salt. And then we're gonna add our vegetables. When you're buying a gurkesalat, pickled cucumber, in the stores in Denmark, you will get very, very fine sliced cucumbers. And that is kind of great. That is like the tradition in many ways. But since we're mincing our own meat and I'm cutting my own cucumbers, I actually want to have a bit of thickness on the cucumber. It gives some consistency, and when you're brining it, you'll actually get more of that cucumber flavor when the slices are very thin, because cucumbers obviously contains about 90% of water. The taste of cucumber would just like disappear. Horseradish. Buying whole horseradishes and just grating them as you go, as for what you like, is some of the best things we have in Denmark. We have wild horseradish, and it's one of the most satisfying things to use in Danish food in the summer. It's just so fragrant, it's just so hot. It's really like, it's like getting your nostrils ripped out of your face in a nice way. And I'm just gonna, I just washed this, and I'm gonna just chop some pieces here, and I'm gonna put it into the cucumbers here. We have everything dissolved, salt and sugar. And when you're putting your head over it, it's gotta, if you ever try to boil something with vinegar, it's getting you. Salty, sour, sweet, with a bit of perfume from the coriander and the mustard seeds. Perfect. Let it cool down a bit. And then now, we are going to celebrate something very special, which is this. This is the beetroot. And the beetroot is something that we have been cultivating in Denmark for a lot of years. And it's a pretty tough bastard of a root vegetable. It can stay in almost frozen ground, not for long. And it's just such a versatile vegetable, and it's absolutely one of my total favorites. And there's, of course, as many ways to pickle beetroot as there is people in Denmark. I bake them. I just wash them down with the peel on, and I put them in a tray on a fat greaseproof paper with a bit of oil, salt, and a bit of thyme. And then I bake them in the oven with, by 150, 160 degrees for at least 2 hours. So they will shrink in, they will look like a very, very big raisin in a sorts. This have been baking, you see here, we got the thyme and we got a bit of oil. And there are pretty much, they could look like a turd. Yeah. They're like small and wrinkly and they are not like completely trashed. They're like still got some bite in it. They're a bit chewy, which I like, and then they got this crusty core. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this, but outside here is really soft and chewy, and inside here is still a bit hard and crunchy. And this is like a dish by itself. This is amazing. So you have peeled the beetroots, and they will eventually turn out like this. Look at this. I'm gonna just cut off the end. I'm gonna cut it in like small chunks like this. I really like that. Also gonna add some horseradish to the beetroots. And I'm gonna cut the horseradish in a way so you can see what's horseradish and what's beetroot, because if you just get a chunk of pickled horseradish, your teeth will leave your body through your asshole. So we do not want that. The brine has now cooled off a bit. It's still at kind of lukewarm. We have the cucumbers here, we have the baked beetroots here, and now we only have to put the brine over these two kind of vegetables. Both of these need to have a bay leaf. And then we have all these dried spices. We need to have those kind of equally put in each of these. So here we got a gurkesalat, Danish cucumber salad, and here we got the baked beetroots. Just need to smell this. Oh my God. It's like just, oh, you're not a lion, you're cucumbers. Mm. While we're here, look at this bowl of piggy goodness. It's been boiling for, I guess, 3 hours. This just got the taste of vegetables and roasted pork. It could be just a soup like this. In any other part of the world, you could add some chili oil, some dumplings, just do it with new veg. It's amazing. So now we're gonna let it sit with the bone and the vegetables in it for a bit. And then we'll just do, as we always do in this kitchen, we're gonna sift directly from this pot over into our sauce. Here we got small potatoes. For this classical dish, I'll actually boil these potatoes. I can't get myself to boil these into bits and pieces. But when you're getting frikadeller med kartofler og brun sovs og gurkesalat, when you're getting the brown sauce on the potatoes, there's a tradition about mashing the potatoes with the brown sauce. And it looks absolutely horrific. It looks like something that I can't tell, I won't talk about it. You can, but the taste of it, if you close your eyes and you get a forkful or spoonful of brown sauce and boiled potatoes and a bit of frikadelle, you'll be like, something is channeling all your grandmother's love from above or from where she is. So I'm boiling these potatoes a tad bit more than I normally would. I'll let this water get to the boil. I cook them for about 7 minutes, and then I'll pour the water off, put a cloth on the pot, and they will, by the heat that they are containing themselves from the boiling, they will prepare to be finished. So we got this, of course it's not al dente, or it's like not hard, it's cooked all the way through hot, but it's not like floury, or it's not like falling into pieces. It's like a kind of awe of being respectful that's raining down on me right now. Like a golden shower of being respectful of what we're doing. Yeah, I just said that. And now we're doing the blood of the Danes. And baby, the Danish blood isn't red. The Danish blood is brown. And it's brun sauce. It's the brown sauce. All-purpose flour, the wheat flour, and the butter. And we're gonna start up with a roux. And this time we're gonna go for all these kind of nutty flavors that a roux would give us when we're starting to roast off the protein that starts in the flour. So we're gonna do equal amounts of flour and butter. Yeah. And now the butter here is, normally here if we were doing a white sauce, we would actually be very careful that the butter doesn't burn. We don't want it to burn, but if it takes on a bit of a brown nuance, it's okay. We're not gonna scream and say everything is destroyed and do a terrible amount of food waste and throw everything away. If you're allergic to gluten, I've said that a lot of times, you can just thicken this with cornstarch, the flour. Once again, we're working to get the taste of flour out. So we are, so to speak, baking out the flour here in the butter. I'm sorry, maybe this is, you can't see that well, but I'm just gonna add broth. Now we're gonna add cream, black pepper, and we got the salt there. Give it a good amount of pepper. Be generous with the salt. Hit it with the cream. Yeah. Just boiling it up. And I think we got the right consistency. You can see that you're making small trails with a whisk, and that would be good for me. Then we're gonna taste. It's just such a classic thing. Nothing is like punching out in the beginning, and then when you taste, you'll get the roasted pig, you'll get the vegetables, you'll get eventually the bay leaves, and it needs a little bit more salt. Now you're thinking, what the actual fuck? This is not a brown sauce, this is a white sauce. And my dear friend, you are so right. Just gonna breathe, because now we're gonna show you what made Denmark. So this is a secret. This is all the secret about modern Danish design classics. It's the pH lamp. All the new modern architecture that Danish architects are like throwing around in the world as prestige buildings. It's new classical Danish jazz music. The thing I'm gonna show you now is probably one of those things that have been an element in building all of those Danish legends. Madkulør. What does that actually mean? Mad color. Mad is Danish word for food. Kulør is the Danish word for coloration. What is this? This is just actually an additive that will give your sauce the brown color that you need. It tastes horrible. I don't even want to look at what it contains, but it has to go into the brown sauce as a classical Danish brown sauce. You can do a lot of other things to get the color. You can do gastriques, and you can do all kind of caramelized brownish colorations of vegetables in the stock, but this is the way. And it's not cheating, it's how it's gonna be. If you do it any other way, doing a white sauce without kulør, it's not a brun sauce, in my book. And now all Danish people watching this are screaming and throwing things at the screen. I don't give a shit. In my book, the classical Danish brun sauce is with madkulør. And when I start stirring, you'll see that it's lots. Look at that. That's actually, it looks like you were doing something like a chocolate ice cream. This would be my preferable nuance of brown. But my grandmother's nuance of brown was almost like in the border between black and brown. It was really pure darkness. So this is done. I will put this aside, and then we'll get ready to fry frikadellerne, and then we're gonna eat. Perfect. I'm just gonna throw the water of these. Right now they're not quite cooked, but I'm going to take a clean kitchen towel, put it on here, and I'm just going to let it sit back here while we're frying the frikadeller, and then it's going to be perfect. Now we're going to fry our Danish meatballs or frikadeller, and the dough, the mince, the stuffing have been resting in the fridge for a couple of hours, and it obviously have set a bit, but it's still the good wobbly consistency so we can form the meatballs. Half of this is gonna be for boller i kai, the balls and curry. So we're just gonna fry a couple of these, and we also have to taste because we got the potatoes, we got the sauce. We're just gonna warm up the sauce and just do the last tasting, and then we're just gonna eat frikadelle. Oh. A bit of neutral oil. I'll just go low on the heat, put on some butter here. Then I'll just start forming the frikadelles, doing it with the spoon. Old school trick. Just add some of the hot fat here. Get your clean hand. Take out a good lump. I don't know if there's any national standard measurement of how much a frikadelle should weigh, the weight of it. Not too small, not too big. Just gonna go with this size look, okay. And now we are getting the smell of frikadelle. It always seems to amaze me when I'm frying frikadelle this way. How nice, how many nice memories there's about it. All right. So that would be a pot full of frikadelle. I'm gonna put this back in the fridge just for a second. There's a couple of schools in how to fry frikadelle. There's, of course, the low and slow, and then there's like the fast and furious. I'm in the middle, but you actually really would like to have a kind of crust on a frikadelle. And just as the sauce, what kind of nuance of brown do you want? See, this is not at all done, but we're gonna flip these a couple of times. Oh, this is the waiting game. So now we're starting the turning again. I'm heating up a bit now. Now we got all the frikadelle on the pan. So now I'm in control, and I don't have to form anything. I just can totally get my zen on, my focus. My frikadelle zen is now rising, and I can hear, I turned up the heat a bit. I can hear that the frying is getting, I can hear that the pan is getting hotter by the frying. So now we're gonna look at this. Now we're talking. Now we're getting there. This is what we want. So now I'm just gonna do the last tasting of our sauce. Oh, it's still hot. And here you actually can see the consistency. It's definitely not running fast. Here we go. This is frikadelle med kartofler, brun sovs og surt. The Danish fried meatballs with the brown sauce, the boiled potatoes, and the pickled cucumbers and beetroots. And that's it. This is all you get. I'm just gonna plate up frikadelle. So we just try to cut this frikadelle to see how it's inside. You see? This is what you need. Juicy, 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 and crispy on the outside. I'm gonna be modest right now because we're filming. If this was in real life, I would dig in for real in a way and a manner that definitely not would be shareable and watchable. It will maybe even make you lose your appetite. So we got a bit of pickled beetroot, and we got, I just have to taste this. If you're marrying a Danish person and you are invited to that person's parents and they serve you a brown sauce with a small spoon, they don't want you to marry their kid. But if they are serving with a real spoon, like a soup spoon and enough brun sauce, brown sauce, and the brown sauce is the shiz, then you're gonna inherit the vineyards. So let's see when we put it over the potatoes. Oh yeah! Believe it or not, this is a real Danish classic. And I'm just gonna dig in. Potatoes with the sauce. It might be the most simple dish in the world, but I am as grateful as can be for this. The country where we, as is in 2024, have some of the world's best chefs and restaurants in terms of what some kind of the society have decided to be fine gastronomy. This is a true classic, and I, to this day, still claim that a lot of those people who are acclaimed, world-renowned chefs right now, they would die to get my frikadeller, brun sauce and kartofler. That's it. Matthew, get your pretty face over here. So I just put up 2 frikadeller.
You think I'm pretty?
Yeah, I do.
Gosh.
You know. Oh, that's bad acting. That's really. Oh shit. You know the drill.
I do.
So you just.
I'm Danish.
Yeah.
You can say.
We're Danish, yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a couple of hours now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Torture.
I don't. You know, we have to eat this before my missus get back.
Of course.
Okay.
And I'll do
Dig in.
the potato. The potato.
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 I can totally understand if people who are into gastronomy are looking at this plate and thinking,
What is this?
Jesus,
They look like a disaster.
that's not Danish.
No.
'Cause
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I'm gonna join you. It's so sad that so many of the Danish classic have been fucked over so much that we're
It's
almost
been watered down.
yeah. Oh, you have such a nice language.
Thank
It's
you.
just
sir.
it's just me. No, but in some way I'm pretty angry about it. Because if you're watering down the classics,
Yeah.
the foundation,
Yeah.
you're forgetting the craftsmanship behind what we're doing.
That makes sense. Thanks, Simon.
Always my brother. And now, let's get ready to do dinner. Balls and curry. Now for dinner. The boiled meatball in a curry sauce. This is an easy job to do in terms of we have the, the stuffing, we got the dough, the meat dough for the meatballs. And here in this pot we got the stock that we were doing, the piggy broth with the pig bones, and we're going to use that both for the sauce and for boiling the meatballs in. This is very easy. You're actually just gonna do the same thing with the spoon as you did with the frikadelle. Small, kneady balls, and then you're gonna boil them. I'm just gonna warm up the spoon a bit, and then I'm gonna do. So there's a religion about how big these meatballs should be for boller and kai. Some households, some house mothers, they would do like something would remind you of a small fist, and some will do more delicate small ones. I'll do a thing that's in between, I guess. I'll try to get them as round as possible. That's just the classical aesthetic of it. But this is a tablespoon, classic tablespoon, and this is the size. And now we're done, and the rest of this minced meat, this meat stuffing thing, I'll put in the fridge, and later on I'll just put it in a bag and I'll put it in the freezer, or maybe I'll get up in the middle of the night and just fry some frikadeller. Who knows? So when are the meatballs done? Well, the meatballs, they are done when they are surfacing in the soup. This is not a power boil. This is just like a slow simmering boil. And actually now the first of the small meatballs, they are risen to the top, to the surface of the soup. And that's a good sign. About 85, 90 degrees Celsius would be the preferable temperature. And either way, you can just turn the heat down and let the meatballs set in the soup, because you're actually gonna cook them further on in the curry sauce. So don't be too hard on your balls. That's just the thing. If you're being too rough with the balls, eventually they will break and they will do you no good, and you will be in a lot of pain gastronomically. Well, I'm just going to start up with the curry sauce, and the traditional curry sauce is very simple. We are, well, surprise, surprise, getting on with roux, butter, flour, and a little bit of onion. That's the total classic one. You can do it without onions. My grandmother, she used a bit of onion in hers. And actually, she also used the new, dangerous, powerful, potent spice called garlic. So I'll add a little bit of garlic too. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. It takes so little time. We're gonna boil some rice. I think that everybody can boil some rice. So now we're chopping a bit of onions here. You don't have to be too meticulous on this one. You just want it to be medium fine. Bits and chunks, they're welcome. We're getting the boller and curry pot. And oh my God, there she is once again, the red one. Oh, hello, is it me you're looking for? Put it on a medium heat here. And then we want to add a bit of neutral oil. Now we're gonna clarify the onions. We're not gonna fry them. We're just gonna make them like soft and transparent. And then we're gonna do the roux in a little different way. We're gonna do a generous amount of butter in here. It's about 75 grams here. Then I'm gonna hit in with the butter, with the onions here and garlic. Yep. So when the butter is completely melted, we're gonna add some flour. So this is what we got right now. Fat, onions and garlic, just becoming one big family. This is my grandmother's curry. Madras curry powder. Yeah. It's almost like a brown yellowish color. It's mild, not hot. If you put this in while you're frying, you have to be a bit careful not to burn some of the dry spices in here, because they will turn really, really bitter. My grandmother, she was just adding it while making the sauce. So we have this subtle, strange kind of mild distribution of curry flavor into this sauce. This is just like adding flour to melted butter, as you know in any roux. One. So now we're gonna bake out the flour with the fat in the onions. That will once again be a bit of a waiting game. You don't want to burn neither the flour or the onions or the garlic, so you better keep this moving. Gonna add our soup. I'm just gonna find the soup spoon. So now we're gonna add the curry, and be careful that you don't add too much at a time, so it will lump. I'm just doing this with a fork, a bit of a fork here. So spreading it evenly out. Yeah. And then, of course, we're gonna add in some cream. Yeah, it's Danish cooking. We need our cream. It's balls and curry. We need to get some salt in there. We definitely need to get some pepper in there. That was the trick, just some salt. Because we're doing this today, I was actually looking in some old recipes books. The main principles are the same, but some were adding orange jam, and some were adding sugar, some were adding honey. We're doing it as close as we can to the most classical recipe I found, so I'm gonna add a tiny bit of sugar. Once again, it's just as a flavor enhancer. It's not gonna be anything like a sweet curry sauce, but it's just gonna enhance all the perfumes from the different spices that curry is made of. I'll go with a tablespoon, I guess. So the curry sauce is done. Turn the heat off. And now we can just put the meatballs into the curry sauce and just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. And while they're sitting there, I'm gonna do some rice. And then I'm gonna do the thing that can turn this dish into maybe a little more updated version of the classical boller and kai. So these are the balls. Wine, 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 wine. Spongy balls. Yes, that's what we like. Boiling rice is also an art form, and it has never really, I guess, been appreciated in Denmark. I learned to appreciate it when I've traveled in the East and saw how crucial a nutrition, part of the daily nutrition and survival rice was. So we're gonna definitely, we're gonna treat this with respect. One of the things that I actually found out when I was traveling out in the East for the first time is that people were washing their rice. I never, ever washed my rice. If I was lucky, it was like they were in a bag that you just pulled in too much water. And this is just being done slowly, getting impurities out. And you can see how white the rice is getting here. You want to wash the rice, you don't want to crush the rice. So 1 part of rice, almost 2 parts of water. I don't salt the water I boil my rice in. There you go. So that one needs to boil up, and it's gonna turn down the heat so it will soft boil for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna turn it off, and then we're gonna do almost the same as the potatoes. We're gonna put a clean kitchen towel in between the lid and the pot, and it will just like sit and get itself together. And now we're gonna have some fun, because as you all might know, I respect the classical Danish dishes so much because they are such good memories. But I also think that you're once in a while obligated to find out how to do something new, not to destroy the dish, but to make it funny again, make boller and kai funny again. And I'm gonna do it with these little fellas. I got a coriander who almost survived. Well, it's a Greek yogurt, 10%, and that's gonna just be as it is. And then I'm gonna make a small relish out of apples, chilies, limes, and coriander, cilantro in some parts of the world. You can just add that small bit of yogurt, and then you get a fresh kind of crunchy heat from the chilies and the apples and the perfume from the coriander. I think it fits perfectly with the Danish boller and kai. But traditional, no, it's not. We're gonna take the apple here, and we're gonna slice it, and then we're gonna dice it. Before these turn into a kind of a 50 shades of brown, I'm just gonna add a bit of lime juice to the apples. And that will eventually will keep them from oxidizing completely. We're gonna do some chilies. Always gonna taste how hot is the mother. It's a decent heat. I'm not that afraid of heat, so I'm actually not gonna take away the membrane in the middle of the chili. Whew.
I'm afraid.
Serious?
Yeah.
Dude, you're half Jamaican. You should be like feasting on.
I know, I'm ashamed.
It's done. Maybe it's too much, but it's done. All right. Then we got some fresh coriander here. And I'm taking the stems with me here, just chopping it fine. Everything, chop, 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 chop. Fine, 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 fine. And now we're gonna add some lemon zest, some lime zest, sorry. And then we're just gonna mix this. You're gonna be just fine, Matthew. The rice is cooking. Gonna turn down the heat. So that'll be 10 minutes, and then gonna rest, and then, yeah, we're gonna taste the boller in curry. Quick clean. Now the rice has rested, and we're ready to taste boller in curry. You wanna have some rice here. Okay, and then we're gonna have the boller in curry. Yeah. So first of all, we're gonna look inside of these balls and have a taste of this. See how. Still juicy, tasty, very, very mild taste of curry. A bit of that fatness from the cream. And then there's these slightly perfumed long grain rice. It's once again, we're just cooking Danish classics, and that would just set me back to when I was a child, sitting at my friend's house where his mother was cooking boller and kai, and just all good times. Oh. And now I'm then gonna do a presentation of the New Age boller and kai. So now we're gonna add these apples and coriander and lime zest and chilies to the Old School boller and kai. And then we're gonna give, if we're gonna die from it being too hot, just gonna put a dot of Greek yogurt. Now we're gonna taste the New School version with the apple, chili, coriander relish on. I really, really like the classical boller and kai. No doubt in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. But this is what I would go for if I was doing boller and curry. Hello, chili. I guess that these fresh apples actually breaks like this textural wasteland where there's nothing but soft, fluffy consistencies, and the flavor peaks of the coriander, the chili, and the acidity of the apple and the acidity of the Greek yogurt just blends so well with this kind of cool fatness that is brought to the curry sauce by the butter and the cream. So, sorry but not sorry, grandmother, but apples, pigs, and curry, they just add up as a mofo. Matthew, you should put that camera on that thingy over there. Oh, yeah, that. And then then you should have a go. Do you want to try the classical one first or the New Age one? I think you should try it.
That one.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna what?
Because it seems more safe.
But it's not hot at all.
Okay.
I promise you.
Okay.
But it's just like it's so smooth.
Exactly, smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no thing like standing out. There's no taste of any craziness. It's just like a plain old, a bit boring Danish curry.
This is what it should be.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. I've tasted a lot of different kinds.
Yeah.
I feel like this is how it should be.
Oh, I'm glad. So now we got the new age one with a bit more power and crunch and acidity and.
More power. It's gonna kill me.
No, it's not. I promise you.
This is making me happy.
Yeah, it makes you happy. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. This is amazing. Wow. It's I'm not that good to describe it, but it's fresh and it's smooth and it's also cold because you have that.
Yeah. And that you also get another kind of acidity from that one.
Exactly.
And you get the acidity from the lime juice, and then you get the perfume of the lime from the lime zest, and the perfume from the coriander. And I think it just all blends together with the combination of spices that is curry.
So I said this is what it should be.
Yeah.
This is what it should be.
Yeah. Thank you for checking out Eating Out the Danes with me and Matthew. And if you like, subscribe, and see you next time.
Peace.
Have a good one. So I'm just left with eating this one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I win.
Again.